Today I'm going to talk to you all about how I plan out my monthly projects and tasks. This may be relevant for you or helpful for you if you currently find yourself having to work from home. It's a way of looking at everything that you want to achieve as a whole, as your end goals, and breaking it all down into individual projects and then breaking it even further down into individual tasks. Now, last week on my Instagram, I shared this time lapse of me putting together my tasks for the final 2 weeks of March, and I'm currently working through them now. I'm halfway through and I have probably about equal amount of post-its on the done as there are on the to-do. What I'm going to do now is everything that I did in that Instagram time lapse, but in a slower way and explaining everything that I'm doing, so that if, like I say, you do find yourself having to work from home and you have all this time and all this space to work within, and it can be a little bit overwhelming and you find yourself scrolling through social media or scrolling through the news, particularly at the moment, and you find it very hard to focus. So what I do first is a bit of a brainstorm, and I try and work out what I would like to achieve by the end of the period of time. And in this instance, we're looking at the month of April. So I want to look at everything that I'd like to do by the end of April. First of all, we'll go for the easy things that are done by date. So I have my YouTube videos, and I've already worked out that there are 5 Wednesdays within April, which is my upload day. So therefore I need to do 5 YouTube videos. The other thing that I've got, which is a weekly project, is my newsletter, and this goes out every Sunday. And there are 4 Sundays within the month of April. I also have a monthly deadline for my essay that I upload onto Patreon. So one of those needs to be done. And then I've got my longer projects, and these I find are a bit more difficult to get on with and to do them because there are no dates involved. These have got no deadlines, but equally I still rate them high in my priorities and still want to have made significant progress with them during the month of April. I have 3 longer term projects, and with that we've got my proposal that I am putting together of my non-fiction book idea, and we also have my ebook that I intend to sell through my website, and then I've got my novel, my long-suffering novel. These are the 6 projects that I'd like to work on during the month of April. What I did on my Instagram video last week is to work out the order of priority. So, for example, I know my novel is my least priority project. It can be difficult to work out what the priorities are, but I have to go. I mean, my essay is for my patrons on Patreon, and they pay for that, so that has got to be my number 1 priority. My YouTube has got to be my 2nd, and my newsletter my 3rd. They're pretty much equal because they have a weekly upload schedule. And then out of these 2, again, they're pretty much equal, but I'm going to put my proposal as number 4 and my ebook as number 5. I mean, all of them are important to me. But if I just rate them a little bit, and I find I'm getting a little bit stressed because I haven't written anything in my novel for a couple of days, because I do have the children at home, and these are interesting times, for want of a better expression. So everything might not get done. This might change, but for the month of April, my novel is not a big priority. So there is my brainstorm. So the next thing I do is get myself a couple of pieces of paper, and I think these are A3, and one of them is going to be for the tasks that are to be done, and the other one is going to be the tasks that are done. And I'm going to divide up all of these projects into individual tasks. So, for example, with my YouTube one, all the different tasks it takes to get a video uploaded onto my channel. So starting from writing the script, to actually recording it, to editing it, to uploading it, then to promoting it, putting it on my blog, putting it on Pinterest, all those different things are going to be on individual post-it note tasks. And then when I've done that particular task, I move it over onto the done sheet. And that way I get a visual representation of exactly what I've achieved. And I find this to be actually quite inspiring. It encourages me. I want to move that post-it note over. It's just the little things in life, isn't it? I really, really want to move that post-it note over. I feel a sense of accomplishment, and it gives me confidence that I'm actually making progress on the tasks that are important to me, and not the ones that appear in my inbox that are all shiny and sparkly, and I think, oh, I should do that. And then I remind myself, no, your priorities are these. These are the ones that you're doing this month. If you're still interested in that shiny and sparkly one that's just arrived in your inbox, then schedule that for the following month, or for a few weeks' time, or whenever you've got the priority ones done. It is a great distraction eliminator, this process, and it really, really increases my productivity. Right, so the first thing we do, I'm just going to put you on a time lapse as I create 6 columns on both sheets for the 6 projects that I've got. And then I'll label them across the top, and I'm going to put them in order of priority. So it will start with my essay and go down until we get to my novel. Okay, so I've drawn 7 columns because it occurred to me that I ought to have one for other, and by other I mean I've got a couple of clients every month, so I really ought to have a column for them, and then anything else that comes up. For example, like I said earlier, if you do get an email that comes in with a work opportunity, you don't quite have time for it, but you might be able to squeeze it in at some point, then you can put that in the other one. And if you do get time at a later date, then you can remember that that opportunity or that project is there and work on it when you've got the time. So now we have some post-its. Should have 6 different colours, and they're the same ones. They might look, that one's yellow, that one's green. Okay, and what else do we need? A different pink. So here are the post-its, and I have one particular post-it colour for each project. Now this is going to be the long part, because this is when I divide up each project into the individual tasks. And my tip here would be to make sure each task is around, I don't know, 25-30 minutes a time, at the maximum an hour. So if you are working from home and you have your children around, you can divide your tasks up into quite small periods of time, and it's almost like the pomodoro technique, so that when you have, say, your children are out in the garden with your partner, or they're having some TV time or some iPad time or whatever, you can sit down and get a 25-minute task done. And you know, if you can do that a few times during the day, you know you are still working towards your goals or your projects. So this is what I'm going to do now, is to divide each project up into smaller, more bite-sized tasks that I can do around the dogs, around my children, around, who knows, making fresh soup or baking or whatever it is that I use to distract myself, because sometimes when the world is as it is, it's not always easy to concentrate on work, and you do need some time doing other things other than work. So I am allowing myself time to do that this month, or during the month of April. And so I will fit in a few bits of work in between all those other times. And by breaking them down into tasks, bite-sized tasks, that makes it easy to do. So what I'm going to do now is talk you through my essay tasks. For this one, I'm going to use my bright pink Post-it. Now, for my essay, the way I write my essays, I go through a series of processes. So first of all, I'll start with deciding on a subject. And this seems like such a small task to do, but in actual fact, it can stop me progressing any further if this particular task isn't done. It's like unplugging the dam. So it has to be done first. And this could be anything from 30-second task to doing a brainstorm, or listening to a podcast and getting an idea, or watching a video, or even reacting to current events. So we need to decide on a subject. Then when I've decided on a subject, I write the first 500 words. And this is all in rough draft. That's all I'm doing, is just breaking it up into number of words. It's just a really simple way, and I know I can write 500 words. Once I know what it is that I'm writing about, I know I can write 500 words fairly quickly. So if I do have a gap, I can get that done. So once we've got to the 3,000 words or thereabouts, it might be a little bit less, I then do an edit of the first draft. I then give it to my editor. So that is all the tasks involved in creating an essay for my patrons on Patreon, and that is all the different things that I have to go through in order to have a completed project. And when you look at it like that, you think, yeah, when I am in the process of working on it, I used to, and I've changed the way I do things recently. I used to, if the task was in process, I used to put it onto another sheet, and I used to have them on my notice board in my office. But instead of doing that now, because I was finding that I wasn't using the notice board, that was when I divided it up into quarters of the year. But after the first few weeks, I didn't look at it anymore, and that really annoyed me. I want this to be something that I use every single day. So what I have done, for example, these are the tasks that I am currently working on. When I am working on them, I will take them off the to be done sheet, put them in my planning notebook, and then when they are completed, I will put them in the relevant column on the done sheet. Now I need to do a time lapse of all the other tasks that I need to do for all my other projects. But before I do that, I'm just going to show you my current sheet that I'm using for the final few weeks of March. And it is exactly the same. This is my done, and this is my still to be done. And actually this is my YouTube ones, and it said to write a script. That's been done, so I can move that to the done section. I'm currently doing the filming, so that goes in my notebook here because that's in process. When it's done, when I finally finish my filming here, I turn the camera off, and then I will take that and add it to the done section on the sheet. Let's put this one first. This is still to be done, and this is done. And as you can see, the majority of the ones that are done are my YouTube videos. I have done some novel writing. I've done some work on my non-fiction proposal and my newsletter. I've got one newsletter out, and I have started to make progress on my essay, and the rest of my essay tasks that I want to get done over the next couple of days are in my in progress section of my planning journal. And yes, you will also notice that I do write down what I want to do each day, because sometimes just having them there isn't enough. I need to actually plan my day out as well, so I know what I'm doing when, although this is in a state of flux at the moment. And as you can see, this is actually last week's. I haven't even done a weekly plan for this week yet, and it's Tuesday. It's just the way it is. Everything's a little bit topsy-turvy at the moment. I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I'm still getting tasks done, but yes, when I need a bit more of a what am I doing today, I sit down and make a weekly plan, which looks like this. And then I do a daily plan every day before I start work. So that's my current situation for my March one. But now I'm going to do, like I said, a time lapse of all these other ones that I would like to get done for the month of April. There we go. They are the first 3 priority projects, and these all have either a weekly deadline or a monthly deadline. So they're a little bit easier, I find, to break down, because you have to do the same thing each week or each month. The next one is my non-fiction book proposal. I have a few tasks that I would like to achieve. So now I need my green post-its. Now, for my novel, I am literally just going to write down 15 minutes on each post-it, and this means I have spent 15 minutes on it at the minimum, and it may be more than that, but the minimum is 15 minutes, and I aim to do that twice a week. So we'll aim to have, I think there's between 4 or 5 weeks in April, I can't quite remember. So I will do 10 lots of 15 minutes. And I've done a video in the past all about why I only spend between 15 and 30 minutes on my novel a day. I want to keep going with it on a weekly basis, but I don't want it to take up all my time because my priority is these. And as well as doing these 15-minute tasks, I've just done a 50,000, 55,000 and 60,000 word post-it, as well as the time increments. And then finally, I just have my clients, so I won't write a name down there. I need to add something to the essay because I have added a new tier that once I have submitted an essay, I send out postcards to the people who are on a certain tier. So I need to do that. And I also need to do a Q&A session for those who are on that particular tier. This is all of my tasks for the month of April. That is how I divide up my month according to my projects and my tasks, and then I aim to be as productive as possible just so I can have that beautiful moment of taking the post-it off this sheet and adding it to the done sheet, and that is such a satisfying feeling. And when you start to see it fill up, it becomes more and more satisfying, and you just want to do the work just to fill up this sheet. Don't give yourself too much to do, for goodness sake. Keep it realistic, keep it simple. Just be aware of your limitations, be aware of what else you've got going on in your life at the moment. Be aware of how you might be feeling, whether you're feeling a little bit anxious or overwhelmed with everything that's going on. So don't put too much pressure on yourself, but at the same time, it's a great opportunity to get your book written, to get your proposal written, Helen. I'm talking to myself here. Helen, get this proposal written. We cannot go anywhere for the next 3 weeks. So my intention is to get as much done as I possibly can with all the constraints I've got with having my children at home. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this video has helped you. If it has, if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Tell your friends about it, and I will see you next week for another video. Bye for now. Bye.